Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this very important severe weather update. So, Winter Storm Finn is going to have a dangerous severe weather side, and the Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk of severe weather for today from Houston through southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southwest Alabama into the western Florida panhandle in the orange. We have a slight risk from southeast Texas through Dothan, Alabama in the yellow, and a marginal risk from the eastern half of Texas through southwestern Georgia and Tallahassee, Florida today. And unfortunately, this comes with a very dangerous tornado threat. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a 10% chance of tornadoes touching down within 25 miles of location from Houston, Texas through New Orleans, Louisiana, through Mobile, Alabama, into Panama City, Florida in the yellow today. And unfortunately, this area is hatched, which means we're going to have the potential to see EF2 or stronger tornadoes from Texas through Florida today. So make sure you really have your tornado shelter plan in place and are preparing for numerous tornadoes in your area today if you live across the yellow hatched area. Have a 5% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of location in areas like Bryan College Station through just south of Alexandria, Louisiana, through just southwest of Dothan, Alabama in the brown, 2% chance of tornadoes in the green, including Dothan, Alexandria, and Lufkin. A damaging wind threat is going to be equally as dangerous, where we have a 30% chance of damaging straight line winds of 58 miles per hour or stronger within 25 miles of location across southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southwestern Alabama, the western Florida panhandle, including New Orleans and Mobile. And this area is hatched, which means you're going to be seeing wind gusts of 75 miles per hour or stronger in some locations. So make sure you're preparing for a damaging wind event as well across the south. Damaging wind threat is at 15% in the yellow area from southeastern Texas through, once again, Dothan, Alabama, and then 5% in the brown for damaging winds. And then looking at our large hail threat, we have a 15% chance of quarter-size hail within 25 miles of location across the south, once again, the yellow, portions of southeast Texas, southern Louisiana, extreme southern Mississippi, 5% hail risk in the brown. And unfortunately, this goes into tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have an enhanced risk across northern Florida, southeastern Alabama, central southeast Georgia, the southeastern and central Carolinas in the orange, with a slight risk extending down to central Florida in the yellow, marginal risk in the dark green for tomorrow. And once again, we have two 10% hatched tornado risks, one across extreme southeast Alabama, including Dothan, into Tallahassee, Florida, and southwest Georgia, the other across central southeastern South Carolina through southeastern North Carolina, including Columbia, Charleston, Wilmington. So make sure you're really preparing for a tornado outbreak in these areas tomorrow. 5% tornado risk in the brown includes Jacksonville, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, borders on Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, 2% tornado risk in the green, tomorrow extending down the Florida Peninsula, and then damaging winds. Once again, we got that 30% hatch risk from Florida through the Carolinas, Georgia, southeast Alabama, 15% chance into central Florida, 5% chance in the brown. Could be seeing the potential for a coastal derecho tomorrow as well. Looking at the hail threat, the good news is that the hail threat is going to be nearly non-existent, with only a 5% chance across southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia, western Florida. So let's take a look at our computer models. Taking a look at the 12Z run of the HRRR model, we have widespread showers and thunderstorms ongoing across central North Texas into Oklahoma as of this morning. And as we go through the morning into the early afternoon, storms are really going to explode across East Texas, noticing some kidney bean shapes across East Texas around Bryan College Station, as well as Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, southwest Louisiana. These could be producing tornadoes as early as noon Central Time today. As we go into about 2 o'clock, could be seeing several supercells across southwestern Louisiana, eastern Texas. And then as we go into about 5 o'clock, could be seeing supercells moving on shore near New Orleans. So if you live in New Orleans, you're in that 10 sig area. Make sure you're really monitoring the weather across New Orleans today. And then going into the evening, we could be seeing embedded supercells across southern Mississippi, southeastern Louisiana, moving into the Florida Panhandle. And then, unfortunately, this goes into a nocturnal tornado threat as we go into 11 to 12 o'clock tonight Central Time. Embedded supercells across southern Mississippi, southeast Louisiana, western Florida. And then, as we go into about 1 to 2 a.m., we do unfortunately have indications we could be seeing discrete supercells moving onshore in the Florida Panhandle. So make sure you have your phones and your NOAA radio set, especially across the Louisiana through Florida area tonight. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, this turns into a big squall line producing a very strong damaging straight line winds moving across southern Mississippi, Alabama into 4 a.m., 5, 6, 7 a.m. Could be seeing QLCS tornadoes embedded in the line across central southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle once again going into 8 a.m. tomorrow Central Standard Time. And then as we go into through the morning, very strong squall line moving across southern Georgia through Tallahassee, Florida. Going through about noon, squall line continues east. And then once again going into tomorrow, could be seeing discrete supercells ahead of the main line across the Carolinas, leading to a dangerous tornado threat. And then going through the day tomorrow, our squall line pushes through, producing very strong winds, and then eventually moves out as we go into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So taking a look at our significant tornado parameter, this is concerning to say the least. As we go through the morning, significant tornado parameters explode across south central and southeastern Texas, with widespread values of 5 to 8 indicating an extremely favorable atmosphere for tornadoes this morning across southeastern Texas. This includes Houston as we go through about 12 to 1 o'clock this afternoon. So make sure you really have your tornado shelter plans in place across Houston. Going through into the afternoon around 5 o'clock, significant tornado parameters of 4 to 7 extend across southeast Texas, southwestern Louisiana. And then as we go, unfortunately, into the overnight, going into about 8 o'clock Central Time, significant tornado parameter values remain between about 4 and 6 across South Louisiana, and going into New Orleans around midnight. Yeah, this is not what we want to see. Seeing widespread significant tornado parameter values of 4 to 6 and pockets as high as 7 around New Orleans around midnight tonight into southern Mississippi. And then as we go into 2 a.m., it gets even worse. We're starting to see 7.5s, 8.3s, 8.5s, a 12.1 near Mobile. Very favorable atmosphere for tornadoes tonight across southern Mississippi, Alabama, southeastern Louisiana. Going into 4, 5 a.m., look at Mobile, Alabama with a 10 on the significant tornado parameter maxing out, as well as around Pensacola, Florida. Going into tomorrow morning around 6 a.m., around maybe Destin, Florida, we're seeing these significant tornado parameters approaching 13. This is not good. And then going into 9 a.m. around Panama City Beach, Fort Walton Beach, looking around significant tornado parameters of 6 to 10. So this just gives an idea of just how favorable the atmosphere is going to be for tornadoes, especially overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we do see a lowering of the values through tomorrow morning into Florida. However, we see an increase once again across the Carolinas, as well as eastern Florida, central Florida, Tampa, up towards Jacksonville, up towards Myrtle Beach, Columbia. Significant tornado parameters between 4 and 6 as we go into about 4 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. And then as we go into about 6 to 7 significant tornado parameters of 3 to 5 in central Florida and about 4 in eastern areas of the Carolinas. And another story is going to be the wind aspect, non-thunderstorm winds. Throughout the day today, non-thunderstorm winds are going to be gusting between about 45 to 60 miles per hour in portions of southeastern Colorado, northeast New Mexico, western Texas, and Oklahoma. And then as we go through the evening, the winds are going to push east across Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, seeing wind gusts as high as 50 to 60 miles per hour from Austin through DFW through Oklahoma City. And then as we go through into tomorrow morning, wind gusts are going to slowly spread east. Going to Tuesday, we still hold on to widespread 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts across much of the Tennessee Valley, South, and Midwest. And the winds move away as we go into Wednesday morning. Now, taking a look across the mid-Atlantic, we could be seeing extremely dangerous winds across the mid-Atlantic as we go through into this afternoon. Winds gusting between 45 and as high as 65 miles per hour across southern Tennessee, northern Alabama, and Mississippi, and Georgia. And as we go through into Tuesday morning, wind gusts push into Pennsylvania, into Appalachia, eastern Tennessee, of about 35 to 50 miles per hour, as well as Georgia. And then as we go into tomorrow afternoon, this is where we're going to be seeing very strong winds across Ohio, West Virginia, New York State, off the lake. And then we could be seeing wind gusts as high as 65 miles per hour, maybe even 70 miles per hour in some of these locations, as well as the Carolinas, winds gusting between 45 and 60 miles per hour through the morning into the afternoon. Very strong winds continue up the East Coast. And then as we go into Wednesday morning, could be seeing winds gusting over 65 miles per hour across southeastern New England before the winds begin to move away into Wednesday, seeing a backside push of winds, though, across the Ohio Valley of 35 to 50 miles per hour into Wednesday morning. So this is going to be an extremely dangerous winter storm for millions and tens of millions of people. Got blizzard warnings across northeastern New Mexico, southeast Colorado, western Kansas, southwestern Nebraska, western Oklahoma, the northwestern Texas Panhandle in the oranges. And then we got a lot of winter storm warnings in the pinks across the Midwest, North Central Plains, Great Lakes, winter weather advisories in the purples, winter storm watches in Maine, northern Michigan. However, look at all these wind advisories across the southern part of the country. We have wind advisories covering the south in the tan colors into the northeast, and high wind warnings in these yellowish tans across western Texas, northwest Oklahoma, southeast Colorado, Montana, into New York, Vermont, Maine, flood watches as well across the northeast, and then freeze watches and warnings across southern Arizona. So, extremely dangerous dynamic storm coming for much of the country, especially the southeast today and tomorrow. So make sure you got your tornado shelter plan in place if you live across the Gulf Coast into the southeast. Thanks for watching this morning's update on Winter Storm Finn. Please stay safe and have a wonderful day, my friends.